CrissRails here in Gettysburg on a very cold day. I'm doing a lot of narration out here, but I'm going to have the voice over this one because it's very windy and you will not be able to hear what I have to say. But the different sites that I'm exploring today.
You know who made it.
McPherson Ridge Railway Cut was the place of an 1863 military engagement during the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg. It was an excavation in which railroad tracks had not yet been placed, but which provided a deep entrenchment. During the day, units from the Union Army of the Potomac deployed near this railway cut to contest the attacks of the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. The Confederates were held off during the morning and early afternoon, but were able to drive off the Union Army due to superior numbers. July of 1863, the Western Maryland Railroad connected Gettysburg to the east, and an unfinished extension paralleled Chambersburg Pike, now Route 30, on the west side of town. Although rails had not yet been laid, the roadbed was finished, including a series of 3 cuts through the north-south ridges. On the afternoon of July 1st, these served as protection to Confederate units advancing on the field, but became a fatal trap when Union troops attacked the cut. The railroad was completed after the war. When Confederate troops reached the cut, they found it almost impossible to return fire due to the steep sides of the embankment. Many Confederates were killed and over 200 captured. As the Union line neared the Confederates, its flanks became folded back, and it took on an appearance of an inverted V. When the Union men reached the railroad cut, a vicious hand-to-hand and bayonet fighting broke out. They were able to pour enfilading fire from both ends of the cut, and many Confederates considered surrender. Let's make our way to the tracks, guys. I wonder what this box is. If you have any idea what this is, please leave a comment. The tracks that we're walking on is actually behind Gettysburg College, and we just took a little side path, and because we saw a lake or pond, whatever, and this is what we saw. So then we jumped back on the tracks again and finished walking. Then we came across this lone rail car and these switches. I actually never heard of the Gettysburg and Northern Railroad. It was a big building there on the tracks. There was nobody around, but there was a white truck parked behind one of these rail cars. Look at these axles that we found. They're actually lighter than they look. We actually move one with our hand. I wonder when the last time these were actually on a train. This shot, we're actually looking toward McPherson Ridge, but farther down the line. Here we're just walking down the tracks. On the other side of these cars is a lacrosse game going on at Gettysburg College. It was pretty loud. At this point in our little hike, it actually still was a windy day. We found a switch that was unlocked, so we threw it. Keep in mind, this is an inactive line. We definitely would not be throwing switches on a live line. It's pretty cool to see the switching action close up in no train. Hey guys, we have another whistle sign here, and we're looking at the standard W for whistle. But this is kind of a rare sign with the X, which means there's a grade crossing coming ahead. We were at the old Gettysburg train station, and the last time we were here, it was at nighttime, so you couldn't see anything. But now it's during the day, during a very windy day, and you get to see kind of what it looks like, sunlight. The Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad Depot, which we are standing at right now. This building was completed in April of 1884, and it served the new Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad Company, which sought to take advantage of the growing interest in the Gettysburg battlefield. From here, visitors could continue with a 2.5-mile tour across the battlefield on the Round Top branch of the railroad, or employ the services of a battlefield guide. In its heyday, this railroad was a principal means of transportation to Gettysburg. The Gettysburg and Harrisburg Railroad Company merged with the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad in 1891. It continued to transport thousands of veterans and their families to Gettysburg, especially for the 50th and 75th reunion of the Blue and Gray held in 1913 to 1938. Hey guys, live here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I never knew there was a live train on this line. I've been coming here for 20 years. Let's see where this train is going. If it's going to go that way or this way. Here we go. Guys. Train was heading east toward the Hanover Junction. The building before you, Gettysburg iconic train station, played a key role in both misery and grandeur associated with the Battle of Gettysburg. June 30th, 1863, even before the fighting began, Union Cavalry General John Buford established a hospital in the station for sick troopers. By the next day, July 1st, Iron Brigade Surgeon Jacob Ebersol was also serving here. He remembered Confederate troops sweeping past the hospital and completely filling the streets. He worked here for 2 weeks, while the transportation hub also facilitated the movement of much-needed relief supplies and the removal of federal dead and wounded. On November 18, 1863, an evening train chugged into this building, bringing President Abraham Lincoln and his entourage. The group walked 1 block south to attorney David Will's house. At the Will's house, President Lincoln put the finishing touches on the Gettysburg Address, which he delivered the next morning in the Gettysburg National Cemetery. It's moving to think that some of the men who here gave their lives, as the president put in his famous speech, passed through the station on their final journey home. Lincoln departed from this station on November 19th to return to Washington, D.C. A little known fact about the Wills house is that when Steven Spielberg was in pre-production for his movie Lincoln, him and Daniel Day-Lewis actually toured his house and they were checking out the town, but it was deemed to be too modern looking for the movie, so they actually filmed the movie down in the Richmond, Virginia area. As we were walking toward the college, we came across Dwight Eisenhower's house. The future President of the United States, General of the Army, and Supreme Commander in Europe in World War II, lived in this house with his wife Mamie, and infant son Icky in the spring and summer of 1918. An Army captain, he was then commanding Camp Colt at Gettysburg. This is Dwight D. Eisenhower's house. We actually had to walk through Gettysburg College campus to get back to our car. We've driven by, but I never actually walked the campus. It was pretty nice. It was a nice day, minus the wind. We have one more stop left for our day. This is Sachs Covered Bridge, a famous landmark outside of Gettysburg. Even though it looks like a train bridge, it actually was never a train bridge, but it looks like one. During the Civil War, both the Union and Confederate armies used the bridge in the Battle of Gettysburg and its aftermath. This bridge was designated as Pennsylvania's most historic bridge in 1938 by the predecessor of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. Thanks for watching this video. Gettysburg is a pretty neat place to visit. We had a lot of fun this day. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and like. Until next time, CrissRails out.